Chapter 3: Confrontation. Picture yourself in a dark, creepy corridor. Supposedly you're all alone in the house, and yet you hear an unfamiliar sound. The steps of little feet, like a baby's. Every sane person would immediately run for the nearest exit. You, however, can't help but wonder, what is that sound? Where is it coming from? What is making it? These questions are suspense, more specifically in this context, terror. They are the driving force behind every horror story. They will keep you on the edge of your seat till the very last scene, or biting your nails till the very last page, or give you sweaty palms till the very last level, or make you, well, you get the idea. The genre that relies on tension or suspense the most is, of course, the thriller. By the use of suspense, it can evoke a wide range of emotions, like excitement, apprehension.
You're sheltering enemies of the state, are you not?
Surprise. Anticipation.
God, I'm gonna kill you. 8!
Slight arousal. Anxiety. Emotions that are found in the horror genre as well.
Give me your hand.
So it goes without saying that horror is very closely related. Just like thrillers, they create suspense by asking questions. It will make you wonder what is going on or what might happen. It is the unknown, the mystery. There's no visualization or manifestation of the answer yet, but a worst case scenario is definitely a possibility. Because without tension there is no build-up, and without build-up those true horror moments fall as flat as in any UV bowel movement. But now there is only the question, will there be blood? Suspense is hearing an unfamiliar sound behind a closed door. It is the ticking time bomb in the trunk of the car. It is the oncoming train while being stuck on the rails. It is the mystery of what's lurking in the shadows or behind the corner. But there is a difference that sets horror apart from the thriller, and that is confrontation. If suspense is the question, horror is the answer. It is the realization, the promise fulfilled. Everything you ever feared pays off. Horror is the manifestation of the nightmare. Or in other words, the big difference is, thriller suggests, horror shows. To me, this is the most important defining aspect of the horror genre. It tries to scare, shock or disgust you, sure, and it draws inspiration from our basic fears, of course. But what really makes a story a horror story is how far it will go to bring those emotions across. Horror is the real deal. It is in your face, whether it's very explicit, like a deranged murderer cutting someone open, invisible, like a haunting presence, or abstract, like a virus turning people inside out.
Just one sniff of that fog and you're inside out.
One thing is for sure, it is there, and you're going to have to deal with it. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Oh my god, what the fuck is that? Dude, what the fuck is that?
It can be just an idea, or even a single image. It can be gushing at you on screen, or be a psychologically terrifying concept. In any case, it is confrontation. That is how some stories that are grounded in another genre can be considered horror, or at least partly horror, because of how extreme they're willing to go For instance, Arachnophobia is actually a comedy that happens to have hundreds of killer spiders in it. Ichi the Killer is a gangster film with excessive violence put to horror extremes. The Bye Bye Man is also a comedy.
And he gets closer and he hears us when we think of him. But maybe if we're not afraid, we take his power. Maybe if we're not afraid, he's nothing.
Disguised as a piece of garbage. So, there you have it. That is what defines a true horror story for me. It is a story that tries to terrify and horrify, by not only finding its core in fear, but also directly confronting you with that fear, in an unforgiving way. Still, I cannot believe that there's always so many arguments over this. I mean, why exactly is there so much confusion about horror? Chapter 4. Why exactly there is so much confusion about horror? I can't help but notice that almost every time a horror movie is a big success, the discussion starts all over again. Just recently there was a whole debacle over the It remake. Some people say it's horror, others say it's a coming of age flick. I say it doesn't matter. I thought it was a really awful movie. I mean, Pierce Brosnan, he's just awful in it. And making a computer geek the villain, that's just weak. But here's an idea, maybe it's both. Maybe it's both a coming of age and a horror film. A horroming of age film. Because horror is so straightforward, it does mesh together easily with other genres, like horror comedy, also known as horromedy, or sci-fi horror, also known as sci-horror, or horromance, westernor, detective thriller, action, adventure, historical period drama, mockumentary, mystery, horrorcial arts, musical, post-apocalyptic drama, B-movie, and so on. I also believe that there's so much confusion because horror generally has a bad name. A lot of people associate it with trash or exploitation, or a cheap cash-grabbing genre mostly watched by clueless teenagers, watching other more good-looking clueless teenagers awkwardly holding shaky cameras, and every now and then there's a loud startling sound to create the illusion of a horror scene. Sorry, but Wolf Did I Hate Blair Witch. Now granted, a very large chunk of horror material is trashy, but that doesn't mean the definition should be changed. I think in many cases it's a clear example of what is called the no true Scotsman fallacy. Horror movies are bad. Well, this one's pretty good. Well, that's not really a horror movie. In fact, one of my favorite horror directors, David Lynch, isn't really known as a creator of horror movies, while most of his work clearly falls in the horror category, whichever definition you'd handle. Is it because Lynch's work can be considered a genre on its own?
Get ready to fuck!
Perhaps, but my guess is he's too damn respected to be associated with this. Or this. Or this. Once again, this is the moment people start referring to it as a psychological movie. Aren't a lot of obvious horror movies psychological as well?
We did it, didn't we?
Isn't Dawn of the Dead psychological? Or Rosemary's Baby? Or It Follows? Or Get Out? Or The Babadook? I don't know. I may be completely wrong here, but we'll see. In any case, the last couple years, horror movies seem to be getting on the right track again. Maybe it'll take one more great horror story to truly make the genre respected again, so that there will be less confusion about it. Oh, never mind. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you have your own idea what a horror is about, please drop it in the comment section. And also don't hesitate to share this with people you like, or don't like, or are indifferent about. Share with anyone you want. Where have you been?
Sorry. Phone call. So, are we doing this, or what?
Well, no. It's done now.
Oh. Sorry.